We're going to talk about a word right now that evokes a lot of strong feelings in people, and that's bankruptcy. Now, this is nothing to be ashamed of and can, in fact, be a new beginning for people. We're going to get some facts on it this morning with local attorney Richard Behr. Richard, thank you for joining me here today.
Thank you for having me.
All right, Richard, I'd like you to start by telling our viewers about your background in law.
Well, I've been practicing law for about 25 years, as we talked about before. I come from the Chicago area, and I've been down in Keys 15 years, so it's around 97, I think we came down. But I've been in solo practice all that time, and touching on just about every aspect of general practice. But I do bankruptcy work because there are virtually no, as far as I know, nobody else locally doing it, bankruptcy work. So I extend that to people who are in financial problem in the Florida Keys. And as you know,
it's a problem.
It's a problem right now.
It is a problem. Now, Richard, who exactly qualifies for bankruptcy?
Well, the bottom line for bankruptcy is people who are unable to pay all of their debts, not just some of them, based on their income and their assets. Not something that they don't want to pay, but rather they can't. It's a matter. That's why it's bankruptcy relief. They come in to be relieved of all of this debt, and they can't pick and choose. They have to discharge all of it.
Let it all go.
Yeah.
Now, this isn't something to be ashamed of, like I mentioned just a little bit ago. This can actually really be a new and fresh beginning.
No, that's absolutely right, and they talk about it being bankruptcy relief, as I said before. I mean, you get this relief because now all of a sudden I don't owe anybody anything, so I can start over. I can rebuild my credit. I can buy a new house, buy a new car, based on the new financial situation that I find myself in.
Probably sleep a lot better at night.
Absolutely, absolutely.
All right, let's talk about the process of it, Richard.
Well, most people come to me when they are being harassed by bill collectors and that sort of thing, and they don't know what else to do, and they have the misconception that if they file bankruptcy, number one, they're going to be stigmatized, and number two, they're going to lose everything that they own. Both of those things are not accurate. There's certain exceptions that have been carved out for people to hang on to certain of their assets, and there's some ways that some people maintain their homes because they can work something out with the lender during the bankruptcy so that they can stay in their homes, they can keep their cars, they can keep their retirement plans, that sort of thing. It's just a lot of other things that they're not allowed to have, you know, fancy boats and money's on deposit and that sort of thing. You can't keep everything. But there are certain things that have been carved out that you can hang on to. So that's a misconception that they're going to lose everything. And as far as the stigma goes, that's not what it used to be, because there's so many people that are getting caught up in this financial bind that they just can't do it. And if they walk away from their house, they may be stuck with a deficiency judgment against them that'll haunt them for at least 10 years. So the bankruptcy gets rid of that. So I mean, it's tough, but once it's over, they all tell me that they have a real sense of relief that they did that.
Now, Richard, once they come to you, they file for it. What happens next?
Well, there's a petition filed, and that's why it's called declaring bankruptcy, because when you file it, you're in essence declaring to your creditors and to the world at large, actually, that I can't pay this. When I say this, I mean all of my debt. I can't pay it. And you file a petition and ask the court to go over that, make sure that you qualify, make sure there's no fraud against the creditors, and more importantly, ask the court to discharge the debt that's dischargeable. Once that's filed, you have a meeting with a trustee who's appointed by the bankruptcy court to monitor the case to make sure that everything's right. And it basically, if you're filing a Chapter 7, it goes about 90 days so that anybody that wants to object to it has a chance to do that. After that, an order is filed in the bankruptcy court in Miami that discharges all the debt. It's very straightforward, yeah.
So it is a straightforward and a pretty quick process.
Very quick. Now, there's another Chapter 13, which is a repayment plan, which takes a lot longer. And that is involved in restructuring the debt rather than just discharging it. And that is much more complicated. It takes more like 4 to 5 years to complete the plan. But most of the debt under Chapter 13 is discharged, but some of it is retained and restructured such that it's easier to pay.
Now, if people have more questions, Richard, I know that you would be happy to answer any questions
Absolutely.
they might have.
Absolutely.
They can email the address that you see on the screen, or you could also give Richard a call by calling the number you see.
Absolutely.
Thank you for being on the show and
Thank
telling
you.
us about this. I'm going to take a quick break. I'll be right back. Stay with me.